Chelsea Football Club made the right decision with Romeo Lavia because he was hooked at half-time, and we find out why. It was so wise, it was so smart, it actually reflects what we are this season. Furthermore, Manchester City and Chelsea are starting to annoy other Premier League clubs because they're getting a lovely little cash injection coming in. And I'm going to tell you, tough, deal with it, win the Champions League. I'll tell you what that is about. Furthermore, Chukwuemeka, we get a good indication where he's going. It's either sunny Italy or rainy Glasgow. We'll talk about it. And finally, this season, everybody's ducking the question. Everybody's telling me we're not title contenders. We can't be title contenders. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why Chelsea can be title contenders, and it came out of Caicedo's mouth, Maresca's mouth, and Sancho's mouth, and they didn't even realize they said it. Yeah, I'm that good. I've deduced it. Let's get into it. But before we get started, if you lot want to support the channel, it's the best way that you can do it. Hit that like button. Number 2, subscribe. And number 3, if you want to leave a comment with a super chat, greatly appreciated. Never mandatory, but highly appreciated because it just supports the channel and helps me get a studio. But let's get started. The feel-good atmosphere around Chelsea Football Club has really returned. Chelsea Football Club, after 15 game weeks, sit in second place, and Romeo Lavia has been a pivotal part of that. He has been playing in that DM role, and he's been very, very progressive with his passing, strong and combative in his defending, and more importantly, available this year. However, yesterday, some people said he had a phenomenal first half. I, on the other hand, thought on the ball, phenomenal. Off the ball, a little bit shaky. I wanted a little bit more. I think the Kulusevski goal came because of him. However, this is the big however. He got hooked at halftime. I was like, surely this wasn't Maresca being ruthless. He was not that bad. However, Maresca decided it was the right thing to do because he said after the game, Carney felt something in his hamstring. They did not want to risk it. They would rather not have him for 45 minutes than lose him for the next 3 or 4 weeks, which is 5 or 6 games. And for me, this is genius. He also after added that now he feels fine, he feels okay. This is phenomenal. Why this is phenomenal? Because we need Lavia. Lavia is an integral player for this squad. We've got Enzo, we've got Caicedo, and we've got Lavia for that midfield roles. They enable us to tick, they enable us to express ourselves, and they enable us to be the potent midfield that we are. And for me, Enzo Maresca dealing with this tells me one thing. He is very in tune with this is a long-term project. This isn't about the here and now. This is not about Chelsea winning games today when he can think about Chelsea in the next 3 weeks, have 6 games coming up. This is great news. This is the type of news that makes me smile because it's not short-termism, it's long-term vision. Let's get into the wreck. Chelsea Football Club and Manchester City have qualified for the Club World Cup. For those of you that don't know, the Club World Cup is basically the World Cup but in club form. It has recently expanded and is going to occur every 4 years, and what ends up happening is there is different criteria for how you qualify for this. UEFA rankings, winning the Champions League, winning the Copa Libertadores, and winning the equivalent competition around the world. However, Chelsea won it 4 years ago. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we won the Champions League 3 years ago. And what has happened since then, they've been invited to the tournament. Since they've been invited, DAZN, if you guys need somebody to be one of those people that sits there and talks about it from a fan perspective, give me a call. I love the tournament. Have openly said clubs are going to get 50 to 60 million pounds according to the Daily Mail, and this has triggered a lot of Premier League clubs. Apparently, it's given Manchester City and Chelsea an unfair advantage to be doing this. This is being reported, and what my perspective is, tough. Life is about some people just having an advantage over you. Firstly, Manchester City and Chelsea aren't just getting this because of their names. If it was an invite-only thing, I would understand. You're upset. This is absolutely unfair. You've been invited because you didn't do anything because of your name, right? But we all know if that was the case, Liverpool and Man United would most probably be the ones that are invited. This is due to performances on the pitch and history recent. Chelsea have won the Champions League. Manchester City have won the Champions League. Their coefficients are great. What is there to complain about? Genuinely, I think these clubs need to grow up and they need to stop being so childish. Not everything in life, yeah, you need to cry about. And for me, in this case, all I'm going to say is go and win the Champions League. Then you're guaranteed that you're going to be there in 4 years. You will be there. You will be there. 2029, you will be there. And trust me, the prize money will be even better. But like I said, at the zone, tell them Kavkas View will happily host and produce fan content. If they're interested, give me a shout. Next story. Chukwuemeka is the player that I believe has been really unfairly hit with injuries, and that has cost him his Chelsea career. Chukwuemeka broke through at Chelsea after he signed from Aston Villa. He had a very good initial spell under Mauricio Pochettino, good pre-season. And you know what? The way Cole Palmer was integrated in, everyone thought that role was going to be Carney's. And Carney played a great role alongside Gallagher and Enzo in the opening 2 games of the Premier League last year. Then he got hit with more injuries and he's been on a recovery trajectory since then. Chelsea signed more players and the man's never been the same. It's actually really annoying, it's really sad because he's so talented. However, now reports in Italy are coming out that he's got 2 offers on the table. Offer number 1 is Scotland and Glasgow, right? Celtic are interested in him and they are willing to take him on loan. And what holds future from there, we don't know. The next club that's interested in him is Chelsea C, because Chelsea B is Strasbourg, Chelsea C is AC Milan, right? AC Milan take all our players. They've got Fikayo Tomori, they've got Tammy Abraham, they've got Christian Pulisic, they got, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. How many more of our players do you want? How many more of our players do you want? Because the reality is now they're interested in Chukwuemeka. They want to take him on the loan with an option to buy. For me, this is a move that needs to happen. And it needs to happen for all 3 parties. Number 1, Chukwuemeka in Paulo Fonseca's system will be absolutely amazing. He'll express himself. He'll be a more mobile Ruben Loftus-Cheek, in my opinion. Then, Chukwuemeka needs to go to a league that is less physically taxing and, more importantly, enables him to play football. He needs to go. And Chelsea, they need to get a depreciating asset off their books. The only question for me is, what will that option to buy be? Because if it's a loan with like 3-4 million and then Chelsea sell him for 20, I'm going to be pissed. Because if he goes and he's shining and we're putting in an option of 20 million, it's ridiculous. What I think Chelsea should do is put an option of 35 million pounds. If they want to pay it, they pay it. If not, bring him back, someone will pay that money. He's that talented, he's that good. There will be someone that is willing to pay that money. And for me, it's a shame he can't make it at Chelsea, but honestly, in his position, I'd rather have Palmer and Joao Felix's cover. The final bit that we need to talk about is the title race. And a lot of people yesterday, especially on the breakdown, so Matisse, myself, Don, Javon, Tobes, we have a show that we do after every game on Matisse's channel called The Breakdown. And we were talking about it yesterday. And we said, look, is there a title race? Matisse is very big on there isn't, we're not in the title race. Don and myself are very much, we're in a title race. We're not gonna win it most probably, but we're in it. And I personally think that's my stance. Yet people have attacked. They said, you know what? You're putting pressure on people. You, Alex, you need to stop putting pressure on these people. These players listen, they hear you. And what I'm going to say is, there is 2 things. Number 1, the players don't watch the Kavkas View. If they do, hello, I hope you're enjoying it. And secondly, this is the big one. If they do watch it, and I'm putting pressure on them, I'm going to say grow thicker skin. Because the reality is you shouldn't care what I think. I'm just a fan who sits here, gives my opinion. And as a player, you need to back yourself to be able to go on that pitch and have enough pressure intrinsically that my pressure is not going to add on top of your pressure. Genuinely. You need to want to win this league. And I don't think the idea of winning a league should scare it. It should be exciting. It should make you want to perform. You should want to express yourself. And for me, you know, there were 3 things that I told you that I read in the last few days that made me think these lot are actually really good and we might win the league. Number 1, Enzo Maresca. He was talking on an interview the other day and he said during the pre-season, he sat down with Carlo Ancelotti after the Real Madrid game and Carlo was telling him how, yo, you need to drop that high line. And he was explaining how players have got a bad habit from last season. They want to hold it higher. We will drop it. And for me, this just showed this guy's getting advice from anywhere and everywhere. Carlo Ancelotti's giving him advice and he's humble enough to publicly tell the world. And for me, that's just great. That shows self-awareness. That tells me he's consistently trying to develop. And this is the type of manager that wins the league and goes into a title race. Secondly, Caicedo. Caicedo was speaking about last season, I felt under a lot of pressure. I felt like I needed to be the new N'Golo Kante. They signed me and I was putting too much pressure on myself. Now this season, I'm trying to express myself and show them that I'm worth the money that they paid for. Open, transparent, just someone with something to prove. And for me, he's performing like somebody that has something to prove. He's got a chip on his shoulder and I love it. And finally, Jadon Sancho. This was literally heartwarming for me, you know? Genuinely, I was listening to him. I was like, Jadon, someone needs to give you a hug, bro. Because he has been so demoralized at Manchester United that I think this player forgot who he is. He's Jadon Sancho. He went to Dortmund as a teenager, he broke through, and Neymar said when he retires, he expects him to have 2 Ballon d'Ors. That's how good he is. This player is creme de la creme. He had everything. He had absolutely everything to be amazing. And one bad move to Manchester United shouldn't break this guy to the point where he's in a press conference after the game and he said, you know what? The people at Chelsea have shown me so much love, the coaching staff, the manager, and I know I need to prove a lot of people wrong. You don't need to prove anyone wrong. Bro, you just need to go on that pitch and express yourself. And when players have a chip on their shoulder and they want to prove someone wrong, they're going to work harder. And we've got a team full of them. We've got Joao Felix, we've got Jadon Sancho, we've got Cole Palmer, who was basically told by Manchester City, you can go, bro. We got Noni Madueke on a weekly basis, liking tweets and getting annoyed that people are trying to sell him. We've got Pedro Neto trying to stay fit and ready to contribute. Nicholas Jackson scoring goals. Christopher Nkunku trying to prove he's better than Nicholas Jackson. This team has a chip on their shoulder and I absolutely love it. They are expressing themselves. We need to believe that we are in a title race and we could go on. A lot of you laughed at me when I said we could finish third. I'm telling you now, in the next 6 games, the way I'm going to be talking if these results go in our favour, if you don't enjoy me talking smoke, don't watch. Genuinely, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and now go across and watch my review of the Spurs game. Relive the moment where we absolutely slapped them up, because I'm telling you, a lot of you enjoyed it. Peace out, I'm out. Go check it out. Bye.